Hi, everybody. Just doing some last minute checks here. I'll do a little audio check in a moment. We'll be starting in 23 seconds. Hopefully, you can wait that long. I think I have everything ready to go, but it's nice just to give a little check to make sure. I think we'll start in about 7 seconds. Does that sound good to you? Hopefully, it does. Here we go. Hello and welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to talk about sad things. You could see from the face in my thumbnail, I was trying to make sure I didn't look too happy because sad things are not enjoyable things to talk about. But as you know, I'm committed to doing English lessons on almost every topic under the sun. There are a few I might avoid, but I think that when you're learning a language, if you're going to learn about happy things like we did last week, it's very important that we talk about sad things today. So today's lesson will be about sad things. If you're wondering what types of sad things I'm going to talk about, I think I'm going to cover almost all of the sad things that you can think of. Before we get started though, let me just do a little audio check here. Seems like everything is working great. Everything on my computer screen says that everything is working great. So that's good to know. I do want to say hi to Lolly Lolly and Julia and Key Park and Patana and Anuwat and Madi and all of you who are here this morning. I know Huang is here. Daniela is here. Talk Italian with Arone is here. I know Brent from American English with This Guy is here as well. I see Hector Flores, Medea, Fazi. I know that once I start saying hi to everyone, it's hard to stop, but we do need to get the lesson started at some point. So we should do that in a moment. Before we do, just a few rules. Please keep the chat in English like we do every week. I do appreciate all of my members who help keep the chat just a really good place for English conversation. If you have a question, please don't ask it in the chat. Please use the form that Todd or Dave will link. And I do want to say hello to Todd and Dave who are here to moderate the chat and keep things civil this morning. When you keep things civil, you keep it calm and organized and just nice for everybody. So thanks to the two of them. But we should get started, I think. I think I'm forgetting how to do this, even though I do it all the time. Here we go with the first slide. So the first thing I want to talk about is breaking up, getting dumped. So these are things that happen when you are in a relationship with someone. Sometimes you are very interested romantically in another person and you start to date. In English, we say, oh, those two are dating. When you're dating, you go out once or twice a week or maybe more. You're probably texting each other all the time. And you've decided, oh, sorry, just a sec. And you've decided that you aren't going to see other people. You are going to see each other exclusively. So if someone in English says they're seeing someone, it means that they're dating. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you end up breaking up. When you break up with someone, it's the point at which you decide to stop dating. But if you get dumped, it means that you probably wanted to keep dating, but the other person didn't. And so they decided that they didn't want to be in a relationship with you. So breaking up and getting dumped are the same experience, but slightly different. Let me explain it again. Two people who like each other romantically can decide to break up. They can mutually decide to break up. But sometimes one person dumps the other person. They text them or they take them out and they say, I don't think it's going to work out. And a classic line in English when you get dumped is, it's not you, it's me. Where the person who is dumping you takes the blame. It's kind of a curious and interesting thing. But this can make you really sad. When you are dumped or when you get dumped, you can be very, very sad. Not an enjoyable experience. Certainly not. I'm not going to talk about my own experiences in life, except I'll tell you this. Jen did not break up with me. Jen did not dump me. And eventually we got engaged and we got married. The second thing that you can have happen in your life that might make you sad Sorry, just let me fix. I have a hair here. Anyways, getting fired, losing your job. In English, we also say that you can be let go. So when your work lets you go, it means you lose your job as well. This can be very sad, especially if it's unexpected. If you go to work and you love your job, and all of a sudden the boss calls you into their office one day and says, "We're letting you go." And that would be your last day of work. When you're let go, it's not a very nice feeling. And again, we have 3 ways of describing this. You can say, I got fired. You can say, I lost my job. Or you can say, I was let go. Okay, so all 3 of those mean the same thing. It means you had a job and now you don't have a job anymore. Definitely something that can cause a lot of sadness, especially if you can't find another job very quickly. It can be very, very hard sometimes when you lose a job and then you can't find another job. A lot of these have to do with relationships. A lot of our sadness comes from how we relate to other people, and sometimes distance or living far away can cause sadness. So let's imagine that you move to another country every summer for work, and you're far away from home, and you're far away from your family, and you're far away from your friends. The distance can cause you to be sad, okay? Living far away can cause sadness. In Canada, we have many workers that come to Canada during the summer to work on various farms and other places. And I think that for them, they enjoy the work, but they are sad because they're far away from friends. They're far away from the city that they grew up in. They're far away from people that they love. So distance or being far away or living far away can cause sadness. So here's the big one. This is the one that I think causes the most sadness in life. So I'll talk about this one for a bit. When someone you know dies, so death can be very, very sad, or in almost all cases is sad. Even on the news, when I hear a news story and they mention that people have died, it's sad for me. It's a sad time. But I do want to talk about death just for a little bit because this subject isn't covered a lot in English lessons. So when we talk about death, in English, we have a few phrases. We say they passed away. You can say that a family lost someone. So let's say my friend's dad passed away. My friend's dad died. They might say that they had a loss in the family or they had a death in the family, okay? When someone dies in Canada, usually we have what's called a visitation. A visitation happens before the funeral. A visitation is when you go and you offer your condolences to the family who lost a loved one, okay? It's usually done at a funeral home or possibly a church or other place of worship. After that, there's usually another different event, which is the funeral. And the funeral is the day where the person is actually buried in the ground. Sometimes in Canada, people are cremated instead of being buried. But certainly, death is a sad thing. I think I should do a whole lesson on death. It would not be an exciting topic, but I think it might be an important topic for you to learn about. So anyways, another sad thing is death. And then I put funeral there as well. A funeral is what we would call the service that you have basically to celebrate the person's life. It sounds funny to use the word celebrate when talking about a death, but when we have a funeral, we often do it to remember the person and to celebrate their life. Let's move on. I don't enjoy talking about death very much, but certainly it is something that can cause a lot of sadness in the world. So separation and divorce. So you can see this couple is not very happy. Sometimes people are dating and they will break up, but sometimes people will date and then they will eventually get married. And then maybe the marriage doesn't work out, or we say things aren't working out. So in English, you might hear people say something like, did you hear about Joe and Sally? Their marriage isn't working out, or things aren't working out and they are separated. So separation is the first stage of when two people end their relationship. It's not the same as divorce. It comes before divorce. So sometimes a married couple will be separated. So you might hear, oh, Sally's separated. Yeah, she's not with her husband anymore. And then after a certain amount of time, a separation might become a divorce. A divorce is the legal, I was going to say dissolution of marriage. That's a big word, isn't it? But a divorce is when a couple decides to go to the courts and to legally end their marriage. So a separation is something that people choose to do. And eventually a separation can lead to the legal situation of divorce, okay? But certainly something that causes sadness. Especially, it can be extremely sad for children. So children in families where the parents are fighting or where the parents are separated or end up getting divorced, it can be a sad situation. Sometimes separation and divorce is actually good for everyone who's involved in a relationship that isn't working. Anyways, enough about divorce. I am spending a little bit extra time with each of these. Hopefully that's okay with you. War. So war just happens. I don't know what to say about war. I wish there were no wars, but there are wars in the world. There is conflict in the world. And inevitably, war and conflict leads to injuries and death and loss. So it's just a very sad situation when two countries can't get along and two countries end up going to war. It's just a difficult and sad situation because a lot of younger people, usually people who are in the military, are under the age of 30. I don't know that for a fact, but usually there are a lot of young people involved in wars, and there is usually a loss of life, and it's just not a very good thing. It's a very sad thing. So war is another one. Hey, I'm going to get to the questions for a sec. Let's see what kind of questions we have here. As I'm doing that, I want to thank the 393 people who are here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. If you aren't a subscriber, there's a little red subscribe button there. You should click it. I think there's another one right there too. I think there's two of them. Just click one though and subscribe if you want to. Let me see here. What kind of questions do I have? Let's see here. Leo says, perpetrators make people sad. I'll get to that in a bit. But yes, Leo, people who commit crimes, people who do things that are illegal, certainly cause a lot of sadness for sure. So Mehmet says, hi, what is the difference between painful and heartbreaking? Best wishes. When we describe something sad, we can say it was very painful and we can say it was very heartbreaking. Those are two really good words, Mehmet. When you see a car accident on the news and you know that it caused injury or death, you could say, oh, it was really painful to watch. That means it made you really sad and emotional to watch it. You could also say it was very heartbreaking to watch, which means it also made you very sad. So they do mean very similar things, Mehmet, for sure. Let's see here. Isam has the next comment or question. Good morning, Teacher Bob. How are you? I'm good. Please explain this. We must understand that sadness is an ocean, and sometimes we drown, while other days we are forced to swim. I think, Isam, what they're saying is that sadness can be overwhelming. Sadness can be something that makes it hard for you to live your day. And so sometimes it feels like you are swimming in an ocean and you have to keep swimming so that you don't sink. But some days the sadness is so overwhelming, you feel like you are drowning. So they're kind of comparing sadness to being in the ocean. Ricardo, Hello, best teacher. My question is, I think a sad thing is when my money is out or when my money is gone. And yes, I have the same feeling, Ricardo. Sometimes I think I have a slide about this later. I'll talk a little bit more about the sadness that comes when you don't have any more money in the bank. That could be a very sad time. Hey, Brent's got to head out for school. Have a good day, Brent. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. I see that in the chat down there. So by the way, Brent does actually teach just like me. He's a real teacher. And I'm talking about American English with this guy when I say Brent. Let's see here. Natalia says, hello, everybody. Today I have a training at the same time as our lesson. It is a very sad thing for me. I hope I can join at the end. Yes, Natalia, sometimes when you have to do two things at once and you need to choose one of those things, it can definitely be a sad thing. Ruslan says, hello, Teacher Bob. I wish you all the best things in the universe and may no sad things ever come to you. Well, thanks, Ruslan, but that is a very nice thought, but sad things happen to everybody, don't they? So I always think to myself, the older you get, the more sad things you will experience as life goes on. It's just life. Life has happy moments and sad moments. Yo-Yo from Taiwan says, hello, my teacher, Bob. Can you please tell me, how do you face the sad things? May you have a great day. Well, for me, it's not easy to get through sad times, but I am married to a wonderful woman named Jen, and having someone in your life that you go through sad times with can be very, very helpful. So a good friend, a spouse, a brother or sister that you can talk to when you are sad, I think is one of the nicest things when you're going through a sad time, for sure. Mohammed says, hi, dear Bob. One of the events that really made me sad recently was my grandfather's death. Well, my condolences, Mohammed. I want to know how you will deal with such a bad moment. Thanks in advance. So I am at a stage in life where my dad passed away many years ago. And currently in my life, there have not been a lot of deaths in the family recently. But it is a very sad time. And I'm aware that as my in-laws, as my father and mother-in-law get older, as my mom gets older, that at certain points in the future, people I know are going to die. And I try not to think about it, but I know it will happen in 5 years, 10 years, hopefully more than 15 years. But I know that I'll get through it because I have Jen to talk to, like I mentioned earlier. And I know that sadness, when someone lives a full life and then they pass away, I think the sadness is a different kind of sadness. It's a sadness that's mixed with some happiness that they lived a really nice life. So yes, again, condolences, Mohammed, about your grandfather's death. That's what we would say to someone in English. We offer our condolences if someone has someone that's passed away. Next question is from Rod. Hello, dear Bob. What is the most poignant of those feelings in your opinion? Have a great Friday and stay safe to you all. So I think you're talking about the feelings of pain and heartache. I just think people who feel deeply and are very sad at appropriate times in life, I think it's a very healthy emotion to feel. I think it's a good thing to have time once in a while to be sad. I think sad things are just part of life, and it's important to go through those situations and experience them. Let's see here. Janet says, working hard and getting less salary makes people extremely sad. Yes, money has a certain effect on people's happiness and sadness. I'll talk about it a bit later, but certainly people do have that. Yes. So Katerina says, hello, Teacher Bob. Do you know some sad jokes, or in my country, we call them black humor? I don't understand these jokes. Maybe it's not for me. Have a good weekend. I don't know a lot of jokes like that. There are certainly jokes that we would say are mean jokes or sad jokes, or it's dark comedy. We would say it's a very dark joke. So I don't know any, Katerina, and I would agree with you. I don't always fully understand them as well. Carlos, the question is not about happiness and sadness, so I'm going to just skip it. Bam says, what was the saddest day of your life? Thank you, dear Sir Bob. So I don't want to share too many details about my life, but Jen and I were on a trip over 20 years ago. We were visiting friends, and then my sister called me to let me know that my dad had passed away. That's probably the saddest day in my life. And we were many, many miles away from home. We were really far away. So I had to drive about 6.5 hours from where we were back home again, knowing that my dad had passed away. That was a very sad evening for Jen and I. And then the days after that as well. So, and my dad wasn't very old. My dad was, I think, 57 years old when he passed away. So that was not a happy experience at all. Getting sad now, guys. So let me move on. Winter Wright says, is there any specific words for the war between two different countries? Any words for the war between two cities of the same country? So war is the general term for when two countries fight. But when the war, when it's I want to say a smaller war, we usually say a conflict. There's armed conflict between two countries. If they fight every few days, war is like every day there's fighting. But sometimes we just say there's a conflict between them. Let's get back to the lesson though, everybody. Let me check where I am. Let's get back to the lesson. Not getting along. So I know I talked about separation and divorce. That's specific to people who are dating, but you might not get along with a brother or sister. You might not get along with a friend. You might not get along with your parents. When you don't get along with someone, it means you're fighting all the time. Sorry, not with fists. You're arguing all the time. Not getting along can cause a lot of sadness. When I was a teenager, there was a time where I didn't get along with my parents. I was often fighting with my parents because they made lots of rules and I didn't like all the rules. So not getting along with someone can certainly cause sadness. It can cause other emotions too. Many of the things I'm mentioning can also cause anger, sadness. They can, we are very emotional people, but not getting along with someone is not enjoyable. Maybe there's someone at work that you don't get along with. That can be very sad as well. Accidents. So not even talking about injuries or death from accidents, but accidents of all kinds can cause sadness. Maybe you have just bumped into someone in the parking lot with your car, and now your new car has a dent in it. Maybe you were in an accident and you hurt your arm, and now your arm is in a cast. So accidents can cause sadness because they change your life and they can cause injuries. So certainly when you are out driving in your car, when you have an accident, it can cause sadness, especially I think if you have a brand new car and you get in an accident, that wouldn't be very nice. And by the way, that's how we say it. We use the phrase to get in an accident. So I could say, my brother drives really fast. I think he's going to get in an accident someday. Or my sister got in an accident yesterday. So past tense. Okay. So that's the phrase we use when we talk about accidents. Terminal illness. So a terminal illness is something like late stage cancer. Cancer is probably the best example of a terminal illness. A terminal illness is an illness where the doctors know you are going to die. Okay. So you might have someone say, did you hear about Joe? He has cancer and it's terminal. He has 4 months to live. So a terminal illness is extremely sad because the person is so sick that the doctors can't help them. And so they know that they are going to die very soon. So a terminal illness is extremely sad. It's sad for the person, but it's also sad for all of the family and friends who know that that person is going to die. I do want to apologize a little bit for having such a sad lesson, but this is a sad lesson, but I think you are learning a lot of words and phrases that you can use in English to talk about these things. Theft. So earlier we had someone mention that perpetrators are sometimes really annoying. I think Leo mentioned that. So a perpetrator is someone who commits a crime. So when you have a crime committed against you, okay, so when people do something like theft, we say they are committing a crime. When someone steals from you, when someone injures you, maybe someone attacks you, all of those things cause sadness. They cause you to be sad. So theft certainly is one of the things. I have one small story about that. My first year of university, I went to the laundromat and I put all my clothes in the washing machine, and then I put them in the dryer, and then I went to the store beside to play a video game because you could put, and when I came back, someone had stolen all of my pants. My jeans were gone. So theft, I was sad. I was very sad that day. Theft is definitely something that can cause sadness. Homesickness. So I talked earlier about distance, and then being far away or living far away can cause homesickness. Homesickness is when you miss home. It can happen, maybe you move to university and your first year you are homesick a lot. Maybe you are studying English in another country and you are homesick. You miss home. You miss the people, you miss your house, you miss your friends. People on vacation sometimes even get homesick. So sometimes people go on a vacation for 3 or 4 weeks, and sometime during the vacation they want to go home because they are homesick. So definitely homesickness is something that can make you sad. And then just in general, missing someone can make you sad. So this is kind of maybe the opposite of homesickness or the opposite of distance, but sometimes when someone leaves your house or someone moves away, you will miss them. Oftentimes people who are friends at university, after graduation, everyone moves to different parts of the country or different parts of the world, and you might miss them. You might just really be sad because you miss them. So again, when you miss someone, it means you are sad because the person isn't there anymore. You could also miss someone who has died. You can miss someone who has passed away. You can miss an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. So maybe you were in a relationship and you broke up, and you might miss your ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. But certainly missing someone can make you very, very sad. Here, this is a little bit lighter here. I think I'm into some of the lighter things. By lighter, I mean not as sad. But when your team loses, that can certainly make you sad, especially if your team loses the championship game. Maybe your favorite football team or your favorite hockey team is about to win the championship and they lose at the end. This can make people very, very sad. It makes people extremely happy when their team wins, but it certainly can make you really sad when your team loses. Let's see here. The next thing, when something breaks or wears out. So I have seen many phones. I don't have my phone here. I have seen students at school drop their phones and then they look like this. And that makes them very sad. When something breaks, it certainly makes people very sad, especially if we would say in English, if you do something dumb and then you drop it. I actually remember my son ordered a new phone and I brought it to him and I actually dropped it. It was a brand new phone. It didn't break, but I dropped his phone. If it had broke, I would have been sad. He would have been sad. That would not have been a good thing. And then when something wears out, you'll notice I wear this a lot, and I wear shirts like this a lot. I'm always sad when they eventually get a hole in them, when something that I like to wear wears out. So when something wears out, it means it gets a hole in it or it stops working. Definitely that makes me sad. I don't like it when A shirt that I like wears out. Let's see here. So the weather can cause sadness. I actually like rainy days, but cloudy days, and if you have more than one cloudy day, if you have a lot of cloudy days in a row, so if it's cloudy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if the sun doesn't shine, it does make me sad. I do like a nice sunny day. I don't mind rainy days, but when it's overcast or cloudy for many, many days in a row, that definitely can cause sadness. Let's see where I'm at. Loneliness. So loneliness, I talked about missing someone. I talked about living far away, but loneliness is when maybe you don't have a brother or sister you can talk to. Maybe you don't have someone that you're dating. Maybe you don't have friends and you are very, very lonely. So loneliness can make people very sad, being alone and not having people who you can talk to. So certainly loneliness will cause sadness. I actually enjoy being alone, but if I'm alone for too long, I get lonely and then I am sad. I do like being around people for sure. And then I think I mentioned this in another lesson. When you are old, if you have children, when you are older, once all of your children have moved out, we say that your nest is empty. You have an empty nest. So a nest is something that birds make, and they lay eggs and they have babies and the babies fly away. So we use this word to talk about humans as well. In fact, older people whose children have moved out, we call them empty nesters. Jen's parents are empty nesters. My mom is an empty nester. And you can be sad because if you have children, you have this crazy life full of noise and excitement and happiness and sadness. Like in my house with 5 children, there is always something happening, happy or sad or exciting. And then eventually Jen and I will be empty nesters and we will not have children at home. And that will be a sad thing for us, I think. Hey, let me get something set up here. Let me get to my chat settings. We are going to go into question mode and I'm going to turn on members only chat. So if you're wondering what's happening right now, I'm going to keep answering questions from everyone. But if you are a member, you can ask questions directly in the chat, whether that's over there or below. I do want to thank all my members. You guys are awesome. Let's see here. People in the chat are telling each other they're great people. That's awesome. Lolly says, Bob, s'il te plaît, quand tu parles d'une personne, when you talk about a person, can you tell me the difference between miserable, melancholy, wistful, and sorrowful? Merci. When someone is miserable, it's like a mixture of they're grumpy and angry and sad. They're just experiencing a bunch of negative emotions at once, okay? That's what miserable is. When I'm miserable, I'm annoyed and I'm angry and I'm sad and I'm just not pleasant to be around. When you say someone, let's see here, is melancholy or wistful, it means they're just kind of feeling not sad but not happy. They're just kind of in the middle, I think. And then sorrowful is what you would experience if someone has passed away. Sorrow is like a deep, deep sadness. Let's see here. Key Park says, does breakdown mean sad or frustrating? Thank you. When you have a breakdown or when someone breaks down, it means they are very, very sad. So when I was talking about things that made me sad, if I had started to cry and if I had trouble talking because I was so sad, you would say, oh, he's having just a bit of a breakdown. A breakdown can be more serious. It can mean that you're becoming depressed, but a breakdown definitely means sad. Corey J. Hi, Bob. When you come across sad events, which idioms do you commonly use? In the dumps, have the blues, my heart sinks. Could you mention others, please? Thank you very much. So Corey J, off the top of my head, I would say, yeah, down is probably the most common one. Like I'm feeling down. I'm not sure. Let's see here. So we used to say down in the dumps, but I think we've shortened it. Like, I'm just feeling a little bit down today. You know, I was thinking about this sad thing and I'm just feeling down. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Maudie says, thanks, Rod. Appreciate that. Maudie and Rod having a nice conversation. Norma says, oh, yes, the empty nest. Many women suffer from it when their children grow and leave home. Yeah, it can be a challenging time. Like, people often look forward to the day when all their children move out. And then when it happens, they're actually very sad that their children has moved out. I think that's what I'll be like. I think sometimes I think, oh, once the children are moved out, life will be much cheaper and we won't have to buy as many groceries. But the reality is, once my last kid moves out, I'll be really sad because we have a pretty fun house here. Let's see here. Mr. Bob, I don't know if you agree, but I believe every hard time we go through, we bounce back stronger. I don't know if you agree. I think for a lot of people, Rod, that is very true. I think a lot of people go through sad times or hard times and it makes them stronger. But I do think there are people where it's just overwhelming. And I think they usually need help. They need someone to talk to. So yes, I think the majority of things that we go through in life that make us sad or that are hard do make us better people. Let's see here. Evgeny says, hello, teacher. What is the worst thing for you? You can't teach English on YouTube for us anymore. Or 2, you can't travel abroad anymore. Or 3, you can't eat a pizza anymore. If you imagine, of course. You know, I think it's number 1. Although the pizza one, that's an interest. Like, do I have to choose between pizza and doing YouTube? I think I would still choose YouTube. That's a tough question. Lolly says, merci beaucoup, Bob. Ricardo says, teacher Bob, two-faced people always make sad things. So a two-faced person is a person who, they're nice to you, but then when they talk to someone else, they say bad things about you. So definitely that would make you sad. Julia, dear teacher, could you please explain the difference between abruptly and suddenly? They mean the same thing. If I stop talking, you could say I did that suddenly or abruptly. Both would work. Juniarto, hello, Sir Bob. Can you share to us how do you manage the sadness in your life? Well, I'm old enough to know that if I'm sad, that it will eventually end. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I sometimes thought sadness would last forever. But at my age, I know when I'm sad that it will end. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And then, as I mentioned before, it's very nice that I have Jen to talk to when I'm sad. Xiao Wu, could you tell me about feeling heart-wrenching? Thanks, Bob. So when you see something that's heart-wrenching, it means you wish you could help, but you can't help. That's how I would define that. Corey J says, thanks, Bob. Rod says, Rod's talking to Norma. I have to thank my children are still very young to leave home so soon. Yes, Rod has some time ahead of him, as I do. Sam the Taiwanese. Hi, teacher Bob. How's everything? I don't have any questions about sadness today because I don't want to cause you to feel sad. Well, that's nice, Sam. That made me happy, so that's good. Let's see here. Alexi says, sooner or later the rain stops and the sun arises again. Yes, those are very wise words, Alexi. That is very true. I think, like I said before, when you're really young, it can be hard to realize that. When you're older, you realize that when you're sad, you will eventually get through it. Jenny, thanks for your honest response. No problem. Samuel Chen. Hi, Samuel. Hi, teacher Bob. I feel sad when I waste my time. Watching you live and learning English is definitely worth it. Well, thank you, Samuel. I'm glad that you think it's worth it. I am also sad when I waste my time. And when other people waste my time, it makes me angry. No, that's it makes me annoyed when other people waste my time. Corey J. When it comes about talking, getting over and making peace, do you use reconcile? Yeah, like if two people are not getting along, we would say they need to reconcile with each other. But you can also reconcile with yourself. So when I say when you're sad, you eventually get through it, you do need to reconcile with yourself. You need to kind of come to terms with it. I think that's how I would describe it. We definitely use the phrase getting over. When you're sad, eventually you will get over it. Eventually you will get through it. Both of those phrases work really well. Miwako is here. Hi, Miwako. Hi, teacher Bob. ABBA's song, Slipping Through My Fingers, makes me cry. Seeing my daughter grow fast just makes me sad. Happy at the same time, though. I think, Miwaka, that is First of all, ABBA is amazing. Even though they wrote songs many, many years ago, I still listen to them all. And secondly, children will make you happy and sad, sometimes in the same moment. That's what I would say about children. Siewu, I was sad when my family has finished eating my favorite food. Yes, that happens to me as well. Sometimes I come home and the family and everyone's finished eating and there's no food for me. Artem. So Artem's question is, hello, could you explain about the ceremony? Oh, let me just check something. Something made a funny noise here. Yeah, everything's working. Could you explain about the ceremony when people are not buried but get cremated? So some people choose to be cremated and then they would like to have their ashes scattered somewhere. Often when after people die, they will be buried in a coffin, or they might choose to be cremated and then you will receive their ashes in a container. And often people who are cremated, their wish is to have their ashes maybe scattered along a beach or scattered somewhere that meant something to them. So that is what I would say about that. I don't know a lot about that, so sorry about that, Artem, but I do know enough to say that much. Talk Italian with Aroni says, hey Bob, how are you today? I'm good. Nothing to ask about sadness, but let's just say 2020, nothing to add. 2020 was a weird year. 2021, I think, is getting better, but I think we have to wait and see. But there were certainly some moments of sadness in 2020. Naomi, do you have some sad memories from your childhood? So a little fix there. How did you get over them? I hope your family was there for you. I think I did. I had a really good relationship with my brothers and sisters. So there was a time where I was with my brother and I hit my head on a rock. I rode my bike down a hill and I hit my head on a rock. And and I was sad because I couldn't play. I had to go to the doctor and I don't remember what they did, if I got stitches or not. Yeah, I got stitches. And that was a sad moment for me because we were visiting my grandparents, which I loved. And then we had to go home because I hurt myself. So that's just one small sad memory from my life, my fun, enjoyable life. Hey, let me get back to, I know I'm cutting the questions off short here, but I do need to get back to the lesson so that we get done on time. So let's get back to the lesson. I don't think there's a lot of questions. Let's see where we are in the lesson. Yeah, we're good. So a lot of the things that make people sad are from other people behaving in a way that isn't very nice. And a broken promise is something that makes me very sad. It can also make you angry. But if someone promises something and then they break their promise, so they say they're going to do something and then they don't do it, or they say they're going to give you something and then they don't give it to you. When they break their promise, that can make you very, very sad. When two people get married, part of getting married is that you promise certain things to each other. And sometimes in a marriage, people will break that promise. We also call that an oath. An oath is a very formal promise to someone. But there can be simple things too, like maybe if I promise my sister that I will meet her at 10 o'clock for coffee at a cafe, and then I don't show up, that would make my sister sad because I broke my promise, because I promised I would be there and then I didn't come. Feeling left out. So when you are somewhere like at school, at work, when you're around large groups of people, you want to feel included. When you are included, you are part of the fun. But when you are left out, you are not part of the fun. This can be very, very difficult for children, especially. When you go to school, it's nice if you feel included. It's nice if all of the kids play together. But sometimes kids can be mean and they will decide they're not going to play with one of the other kids. And we would say that kid is left out. So when you are left out, it is a very sad feeling. I was growing up sometimes included, sometimes left out. Sometimes I just decided to do things on my own because I do like doing things on my own. But the times in my life where I felt left out, I felt very, very sad. One time when I was a teenager, all of my friends went to a movie and I didn't find out until the next day, and no one invited me. And I felt really weird because these were my friends and why didn't they invite me? I felt left out and I certainly felt very, very sad. Losing something. This happens with children and adults, but I put a teddy bear there because when children lose their toys, it makes them very, very sad. When you lose something as an adult, it can make you sad as well. But usually it actually makes you angry with yourself. I lost my wallet once, and that made me sad, but it also made me angry. But when I was a child, I remember there was a time when my sister lost her stuffed animal, and she was very, very sad when she lost that stuffed animal. Failing. So maybe you have taken an English test and maybe you didn't do very well. Maybe you are still in school, and when you take tests, sometimes you fail the test. That can make you very sad, especially if you study really hard. So I see Omer asking, I wonder why my question has not been answered. Try to get through things as quick as possible, Omer. I think I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it in a bit, I think. We'll see. Just patience, please. Sometimes when you take a test, you do well. And sometimes you fail, and that is not a good feeling. And then again, especially if you studied really hard, it can be really sad if you end up failing. So just a few things here. A sad song can make you sad. A sad movie can make you sad. So when we listen to music, sometimes we listen to songs that make us want to dance. Sometimes we listen to songs that make us happy. But there are also songs that make us sad, and we don't mind listening to them. So a sad song can make you sad, or a sad movie. So we do use these words. We say things like, oh, this is a really sad song, or did you see this movie? It was a really sad movie. It doesn't mean we don't watch them, though. As humans, we don't always listen to things that make us happy or watch things that make us happy. So a sad song or a sad movie can definitely make you sad. Memories. So in the last lesson, I talked about how photo albums, a photo album is a book filled with pictures from your life, can make you very, very happy. But photos can also make you sad, and memories can make you sad. I sometimes have this when I listen to music that's from my past. Like if I listen to music that I used to listen to when I was in my teenage years or in my 20s, it can make me sad because it brings back memories of a fun time in my life that's over. The older you get, you sometimes miss the days of your youth. So memories can make you sad. Memories of a person who is no longer with us, someone who has passed away, can make you very, very sad. So definitely memories can make you sad as well. So this is unique to the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere in the parts of the world that get good winter. In the winter, especially where I live in Canada, in November and December, the days get shorter and shorter. The sun rises later in the morning and the sun goes down earlier in the evening. In fact, at the end of the month of December, the days are so short that it's dark around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it gets dark really fast. Short days and being stuck inside during the winter can make people very, very sad. If you don't like cold weather, if you don't like going outside, you probably will be sad sometimes in the winter, especially when the days are short and the nights are long. Missing an event. So we had someone mention earlier, one thing that makes them sad is they had to, who was that said they had to go to an event? I forget who that was. Sorry about that. Yes, Natalia. Hi, hello, everybody. Today I have a training at the same time as the lesson. So missing something like one of my live streams, or knowing that there's two things you need to go to and you can only go to one of them and you will miss the other one, can be sad. Now, notice this is different. I'm using the word missing in a different way than when you are missing someone. So when I'm missing someone, that means that they're not here and I'm sad because they're not here. But when I'm missing an event, it means I can't go to it. Laws and rules. So I asked my kids, what makes you sad? And my daughter said, rules make me sad. So I thought I should include laws and rules. Sometimes you might be sad because there are laws in your country that stop you from doing something that you want to do. Or maybe you remember as a child that there were many, many rules in your house, and those rules made you sad. When I was young, I had a friend who had to be home very, very early. He had a very early curfew, and he was always sad because we were still doing things. We were still out and about, and he always had to go home, and that made him sad. Someone mentioned this earlier. Paying bills, not having enough money, that can make you sad. I'm always sad every time I have to pay a bill. I'm sad because I have to send money to someone else, but it is really just part of life. You have bills, you need to pay the bills. So you need to pay for heat, you need to pay for electricity, you need to pay for internet. There are many, many things that you have to pay for in life. And it can make you sad because it makes you have less money. Now, they did do a study. I didn't talk about this last time, but they did a study on whether money allows people to be happy. And what they discovered was this, that not having enough money makes people sad. Having a certain amount of money does make people happy. But once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't get more happiness. So, and that amount of money is fairly high. It's more money than I make. But when you have a certain amount of money in life, it can make you happy. But when you have way more money than you need, it doesn't always make you happy. But certainly not having enough money can make you sad. And then lack of money. So I talked about bills and lack of money. Lack of money simply means not having enough money. The English word lack means to not have. So when you have a lack of money, you don't have enough money. I think most people have a lack of money, mostly because either they don't make enough or they spend too much. Sometimes students I know at school have a lack of money because they spend all their money. It's not because their parents haven't given them money. It's not because they don't have a job. It's because they spend all their money. And this last one is from one of my children as well. Homework can make you sad. So if you are in school and if your teacher gives you a lot of homework, that can certainly make you sad. This one makes me laugh because I'm a teacher and I give homework. And I wonder if for some of my students that creates a lot of sadness in their life. But certainly if you have a lot of homework, that can make you sad. So that's the slides, folks. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can to finish this off. Next question is from Cheyenne. Oh, let me get to the question. Hi, Mr. Teacher. I would like to ask how Canadians and Americans deal with sad things. Are they considered to be part of life, or people struggle with them for a long time? I think the answer is both. There are a lot of minor sad things in life that I think people get through. But I think around the world, for some people, it's very hard to get through or to get over some of the more serious sad things. Hello, dear teacher, or hello, Teacher Bob. What can I say to my friends if they feel sad? So the best thing to say is that you are there to listen. You can ask if they want to talk about it. And then you could also say that you understand them, okay? It's not good to tell them to get over it or stop complaining. It's probably best just to listen. If a friend is very sad, I would say, hey, I see you're not very happy today. Do you want to talk about it? And then if they do want to talk about it, it's best to just listen and ask a few questions. Kinan says, hello, Bob. How are you? Are there some moderate words which can be replaced the word death? So we use the phrase passed away. So you would say, Joe's uncle passed away. You might say Joe lost his uncle a couple weeks ago. So that does mean his uncle passed away. But passed away is the most common one to use. So Juan Francisco, living in Canada, is not possible to have sad things, is it really? I think that Canada is a great place to live, but we are the same as everyone else in the world. We have sadness, we have loss, we have things that go wrong. So there definitely is sadness. I would say that Canada is a nice country to live in, but we definitely do have our fair share of sad things. Let's see here. David says, hi, best teacher Bob. I want to ask you, what has been your greatest struggle? My greatest struggle. That's an interesting one. I think one of the things, and you might laugh at this, is when I was in university for the first 2 years, I didn't know what I wanted to be in life. I didn't know what job I wanted to do. So I studied biology, I studied political science, I studied computer science, but I really struggled for 2 years. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I took some time off from university. That's when I lived in Quebec to practice my French. And then I decided that I would become a teacher. Let's see here. Mr. Fotz says, hello, Mr. Bob. I am sure injustice is painful for everyone. Please give some example phrases about that feeling. Have a warm, happy day. So when you feel like something there's been an injustice done to you, you feel outraged, you feel angry, you might feel sad, but usually the word that comes to mind is outraged. He was given a speeding ticket, even though he wasn't speeding. He's outraged. He is very, very annoyed. So that's what I would say. Let's see. The miserable Kenneth says, I don't get along with my coworker, which I treat them as animals, always stir things up and don't care about how people surrounding them feel. So selfish of them. Definitely people can make you feel very, very sad or angry or other negative emotions. Let's see here. Omer says, I think Omer was asking if I would get to their question. Hi, Bob. When you told about your heart problem, I felt sadness for you. How are you now? I hope everything is going well. Best wishes. Yes, everything is going well. I walk every day that I can. My heart feels good. It's not as efficient as it used to be, but it has not changed my life. I still do all the things that I want to do. And I do make sure I do watch what I eat a bit. I should probably be better at that. But thanks, Omer, for asking. And thank you for sharing that you felt bad for me. That's nice to know. Let's see here. Changlin says, I don't like rainy days as I have migraines before rain. My friends joke that I can predict the weather. How do people talk about this in English? We would say the same thing. Like I sprained my ankle when I was younger. And sometimes when there's a storm coming, my ankle feels funny. So we would say that. We would say that you can predict the weather because you have a migraine coming. Let me check some things here, everyone. Yeah, we're moving right along. We're doing good. That means time is going well. I'm going to skip Zeno's question because it's not on topic. Ellen says, these days I am really sad. I feel up in the air. Everything has gone upside down because of coronavirus. So definitely this is a strange time. For some people living at home, like we are in a stay at home order. I must stay home all the time. I'm only allowed to go out to get groceries or to go to the doctor or pharmacy. And I don't mind being at home. I kind of enjoy being home, especially in the winter. But I do live on a farm and I have lots of children and Jen is here. I'm not on my own, but certainly, and I haven't lost my job. I think that's something that has made people very sad. So I feel for you, Ellen. It's not an enjoyable time. The vaccine is great, but there's not enough, and it's not fast enough for everyone, right? So let's see here. Let me get to the next question. A couple questions here that are not on topic, folks. So I do like to make sure I answer questions that are on topic. This one's from Ken, and then I have a couple more and I'll be done. So Ken says, hello, Teacher Bob. Hi, Ken. I think disaster is one of the sad things. What are typical disasters in Canada? So I know in the world there are cyclones and there are hurricanes and there are tsunamis and there are things like drought when it doesn't rain for a long time, or famine when there isn't enough food. Those are very sad things because a lot of people are having a very hard time in their life, and it's hard to help. What are typical disasters in Canada? So we don't have a lot of disasters other than maybe flooding. I know in Quebec there was a lot of flooding when water gets really deep. We don't really have earthquakes in Canada. In some parts we have small earthquakes, but that's really it. Canada doesn't have a lot of the normal disasters. We have tornadoes and we have really high winds, but not really hurricanes. So it's a fairly moderate climate in Canada. Let's see here. SL Lenka. Hi, Bob. When I was a kid, one of the things that made me sad was going to school. I used to hate school. I'm curious to know about one of your sad stories. Thank you. So I think for me, the saddest things in my life were when my grandparents passed away. My dad's parents and my mom's mom were people that I knew very well in my life. My mom's mom, my grandma, came for lunch every Sunday. And then my grandfather on my mom's side passed away when I was really young, so I didn't really know him. But my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side, because my grandfather was also a farmer, he came and helped a lot. So I have good memories of that. And I had a really nice uncle that lived across the road. And when he came over, it made my dad happy. So it was kind of fun. So it was sad when he moved away. That was something that was sad. So sad things in life were when my grandparents passed away, definitely when my dad passed away, and when my uncle moved. Ario says, hello, Mr. Bob, I'm late. Well, welcome to the live stream. Let's see here. Anna, is sadness and frustration the same thing? No. So when you are sad, you might want to cry. You might want someone to give you a hug. You might just feel very, very, I don't have another word for it, sad. Frustration is when something has a little bit of anger mixed in it. Like if my car doesn't start, I'm frustrated. I'm like, what's wrong with this car? It's supposed to run. It's not starting. So definitely frustration is more like anger, I would say. That's it. We're done. That was the last question. I answered all the questions. I just want to say thank you to the 558 people watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. If you want to support my channel, you can click the join button below, but that's up to you. Thank you for joining me on this little journey through the things that make people sad. An English lesson about sadness. Thanks to Todd and Dave for being here and moderating once again. I do want to mention there is no live stream tomorrow. Okay, maybe Todd or Dave can put that in the chat. No live stream tomorrow. I'm going to continue to do 3 Saturday live streams, and then I'm going to take a week off. So no live stream tomorrow. Normally, for those of you that don't know, I do a live stream on Saturday mornings. I'm taking this weekend off. It's the end of the semester at school as well. I have a lot of grading to do. So anyways, thanks, Todd and Dave. Big shout out to Rod, the Brazilian English teacher who's here as well. A big thank you to all of my members. If you don't know who they are, they're the people with green names and little crowns. I should come up with a name for you guys, some sort of pet name for all the people who are my members, but I can't really think of one. Anyways, have a good day. For some of you, it's already Friday evening. Have a great evening. For some of us, it's still Friday morning and we have to go to work. So whatever situation you are in, I hope you have a good day. And I will see you Tuesday with another new English lesson. By the way, if you didn't get a chance to watch this week's lesson, go back and watch it. And then one last thing, this lesson will be released again in 2 days with all of the user questions removed, and it will have automatic English subtitles. So look for that and rewatch all of it or parts of it that you didn't quite understand, okay? It's always good when you are learning a language to watch things 2 or 3 times. It's very, very helpful. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a good day. I'll see you Tuesday. I should wave.